Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 205. And today, what we're gonna talk about, man, talk about a couple of different things. Recently I've been making these stories on my Instagram page, and the stories on my Instagram page is relatively simple. It's just me sitting in the truck, just saying what you're grateful for, or just saying what you have to do to get things done in order to be successful, right? And it's true, man. Sometimes you gotta learn to let shit go. You gotta learn to let people be where they at. As bad as you want them in your life, as bad as they want you in your life, you gotta take note of what they're saying, of what they're telling you, and you have to respect that. Now, it doesn't mean you stop being there for them. It doesn't mean you stop helping them out whenever you can. But at the same time, you have to know when your role is, I don't want to say obsolete, but when you know your role is changing, and either you can get with the changes or you can get left, right? Damn, that's some good coffee. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, man. It's like sometimes it's like when things end, it's like, yo, that's because it wasn't meant to be. That's because it's like whatever they have going on is a lot more complex than you think it is, right? Or vice versa. Or sometimes, man, it's like I've been following this Tinder thing on Reddit, right? And what I found is like a lot of people will just like, I don't know, maybe it's me and maybe it's because I'm older and whatnot, and I have the experience of actually going out there and meeting people before social media was social media. Like, I remember going out when I was in college in 2006 and 2007 and 2008, and you literally had to go to nightclubs and bars and all the places that young people went to meet people, right? Nowadays, it's like you can make a profile online, you can bullshit, put up some pictures online, and hopefully you get a match off that, right? And don't get me wrong, there are some genuine people out there doing online dating. I think most of them are fucking shallow, for the most part. And then so there's that. And don't get me wrong, it's like there are some great people out there, but you gotta muck through some bullshit, right? It's not like I said, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and you could just all you had to do was just go out there and meet people, and it was fun, man. It was like, but times are definitely different. Times are definitely changing, and you have to change with it, man. I'm not saying go out there and create an online persona and do whatever you need to do, yada yada. I'm not saying all that. Saying if you want to stand out, you have to ditch social media. You have to ditch the online dating. It's like, don't get me wrong, it's just another tool. But if you're not getting the results that you want, it's like maybe it's time for you to actually do some face-to-face shit. Because people still go out, people still do X, Y, and Z. A lot of people don't hide behind the screen and do X, Y, and Z because it's like that's not our nature, right? And that's what it is, man. It's like, I think at the end of the day, when you realize that what you're doing isn't working, then you need to stop doing it. I read this one thing where this guy said he made dates with this girl. It was like I think it was like a Wednesday or a Friday, and he had simply asked her like, oh yeah, well, like, would you want to go out on Friday? In retrospect, 2-day notice, kind of cutting it kind of close. I would have gave her a 3 to 5 day notice. So at least that way she can clear her schedule, do whatever she got to do. But here's the kicker, bruh. Because I'm not saying what he did was wrong. It took her 2 full days to respond to him. She responded to him the day of. I'm like, nah. Nobody's that busy. Nobody's that busy to the point where it takes them 2 whole days to respond to you, right? And so we're on the thread, we're talking to him, and I simply said, bro, like, she's not into you. Because if she was into you, she would have saw that message and she would have responded. And I think at the end of the day, like, there's that. And then you have to deal with the flip side of it too, right? Let's say you're in a relationship or a situationship, whatever it is, right? There's no labels to this shit, whatever. That's a red flag number 1. Where you or the other person don't want to put any labels on the shit, but at the same time you expect, loyalty and all this other shit, right? It don't work that way. You don't get to not put labels on something and still get the benefits of it. I don't know what to tell you. Cause me myself, if there's no labels on this shit, I'm free to do what I want. I'm free to fuck who I want. I'm free to do X, Y, and Z because there's no labels on this shit, right? People like, what? It's like, yeah. It's like, there's no labels on this shit. So why sit here and create space for somebody who doesn't want to to hold you down that way, And it's always interesting when people bring that up, and I'm like, well, did you guys ever have a conversation as to what you are? Because if you didn't, he or she is able to do what they want to do. He can say, oh, but we had a mutual understanding, yada, yada, yada. I was like, oh, we had a mutual agreement. Like, no. You had a mutual agreement with yourself. The other person just agreed to go along. And it's wild to me when people want to be like, oh, but we had an agreement. No, not once did we ever talk about this shit. Or it's like when people say, it's interesting to me when people say, oh yeah, like, we're fucking but we're friends. And the other person's like, no, we're not. We're just fucking. Or like, I had this cat I knew back in the day. He made a mistake of always introducing the girls that he was seeing, his girlfriend. And the girls would be like, oh, well, he's not my boyfriend. And this nigga's out here buying the whips, paying for utility bills and doing all this shit. And I'm like, bro, like, nigga, you ain't him. Stop doing that shit, because it makes you look stupid, And that, I've never understood that. It was like, or guys be thinking, oh, just because, a girl slept with him, they're officially a thing. No, she just wanted dick and you was available. Or if a girl sleeps with a guy, a girl automatically thinks, oh, well, like, we go together. No, bitch, he was horny and you let him hit. Or X, Y, and Z, Or if somebody says, oh, well, like, you could always just have somebody come over to your house. Yeah, I could. Nothing stopping me from doing that. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. So it just shit like that. It's like when you don't put labels on things, and you don't have clear communication, this is what you end up with, man. It's like you end up with, confusion, misunderstandings, and you end up with feelings, because it's like you gotta give people an option to stick around, right? Like none of this shit like, oh well, I thought we was doing this, I thought we was doing that. Like no, because thinking and doing is two different things. You can think that you're in a relationship, and like I just said, you're just fucking. Just because you fucking somebody doesn't mean that you're in a relationship. Doesn't mean just because they call you for everything doesn't mean that you're in a relationship. That just means they feel safe with you. A relationship is a different level of safety, right? Now, granted, everybody's situation is different. I don't want to say a lot of situationships happen, simply because people want them to. I think people get caught up. I think people get caught up in the fact of being needed and being seen and being heard. And when you get all of those threes combined, it's like those panties drop. And when those panties drop, it's like that's when all the emotion takes over, all the logic goes out the window, and it's like, and when you knocking the bottom out of that thing, it's like there's nothing that, all the logical shit goes out the window, because you're equating, oh, he must like me because I'm because he's fucking me, or he must want a relationship, because I'm not even fucked. I'm like, no, it's like he's just getting what he wants, and vice versa. And this is where I disagree with how people say, oh, some women are just like men. Nah, some women just ain't like men. Because men were problem solvers. Women will sit there and most of the time overthink, think catastrophic thoughts. Make up scenarios in their head that don't even fucking exist, which is fucking crazy to me. They also have this innate inability to understand that everything is not, cracked up as people make it out to be, right? I think that's important too. To not think things are more than what they are, right? If somebody tells you, hey, we're friends or whatever, but they're constantly acting like they're not your friend, meaning they're doing shit that a boyfriend or girlfriend does, then they're lying to themselves, right? Now, I'm not saying go out there and push the envelope. I'm not saying go out there and do X, Y, and Z, but if somebody's calling you and texting you the first thing in the morning, or they texting you the last thing at night, or they're calling you all the time, if not every day, every other day, or at least 3 days a week, they thinking about you. So at the end of the day, it's not just what they say, it's how they move, and how they move is a lot more telling than anything else. It's like I knew this girl back in the day. She was a friend of mine, and and we was young too. We was like freshmen in college, so this is almost 20 years ago. And she liked this one guy that we all hung out with, and like I think she bought us Christmas gifts or some shit like that one year. And so she kept buying these dudes gifts. She kept trying to hang out with him. She kept trying to do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, and he even told her like, hey, well, I think we're better off as friends, because every relationship that I'm in, I end up fucking it up, because X, Y, and Z and everything like that too. And this guy had like 5 kids from 5 different girls, and it's like none of the girls wanted anything to do with him, because he was an asshole. He's the type of dude, like, he would go get them pregnant, and then he'd be all fucking with somebody else. And it's like, And I remember when he told her that too, and I'm like, don't you listen to what he's telling you? Because most guys who tell you that shit, they're not telling you to try harder. They're telling you because it's like they don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to hurt you, you know. And she essentially didn't listen. Like a year or two later, she got pregnant. And the dude left it, you know. I mean, the kid's got to be at least, what, this is 2008, 2009, so he's got to be at least in high school, you know? Yep. And I remember her and her friends were bashing the dude, this and this and that. I'm like, no, you really can't bash, bro, because he told you. And you didn't want to listen to him. He told you that he wanted to be better off his friends. He told you he wanted to do X, Y, and Z because he just didn't want to hurt you. And you didn't listen to that. And you thought, oh, if I try harder, he's going to see my worth. And it's like, it never was the case. He was never going to see you for what you wanted him to see you as because for whatever reason, you just weren't his type or whatever it was, right? I think that's extremely important because when people say that, you know, because it takes balls for a guy to be like, you know, like I think we better off as friends because X, Y, and Z before anything like sex happens. Because once you involve sex, there's always going to be somebody else who's like, nope, ain't going backwards, fuck that, and you can't blame them. You know, it's like the person who takes back the cheater thinking that the cheater's going to change and everybody else around him is like, what are you talking about? You have prime examples of that person not changing. You have prime examples of this motherfucker not doing what he says he's going to do, or she says she's changed, but yet, you know, she's still on there doing X, Y, and Z. You know, she's still doing her thing, right? She's still doing the shit that she was doing before you caught her cheating. Or he's still doing the same shit that he was doing before you caught him cheating. Make it make sense, bro. It's like the person who cheats on somebody knowing when the other person is in a relationship and then gets shocked when the person that they cheated on their wife or their husband with, they get cheated on the same way. I'm like, what do you expect? How you get them is how you lose them. Like, you were just a side piece. You would never want to be taken seriously anyway. Because you never took yourself seriously. And it's crazy to me how people will sit there and be like, oh yeah, but they're like, no, sorry, no. Because at the end of the day, you can't sit there and justify your actions when you've been told. It's like when people say, yo, oh yeah, like we're just friends. Okay, but why do you get so fucking salty when somebody's talking to somebody else? Why do you get so salty when a certain individual doesn't pick up the phone? You know, shit like that, right? And it's like, why do you get so mad if, you know, you said, you know, you and her or you and him is friends? Why you get mad? Why you get mad when the phone call's not picked up? Why you get mad when you're going out your way to do things and this other individual isn't responsive to it? Like, okay, cool. I didn't ask you to do that, but okay, thank you. Like, what? Yeah, I didn't ask you to do that, but thank you. You know? Or it's like when now the play in me, when that motherfucker come out, I'm the type of dude, it's like if I feel like I'm being used or played with, I'm gonna tell the other person straight up, like, yo, only time you call me is when you need something. So what's up? What you want? And you're like, what? Like, yeah, you heard me, I ain't mumble. Because that's true. You gotta take note of that too. Stop being available for motherfuckers. And when I say motherfuckers, I mean, excuse me, shit. I mean women and men. Stop being available for them all the time. It's like, I had asked this person once, like, hey, so what you got going on for the holidays, this and that, and they telling me, and they like, oh well, by the way, you no, no, you're not invited. Who the fuck says I'm gonna invite myself? All I did was ask. You know, so it just shit like that. And I think in the grand scheme of things, it's like people will sit there and think about shit. And I'm like, nah, if I wanted to be somewhere, I would ask, oh, can I come? You know, or if you wanted me to be somewhere, you would say, hey, you know, come with us to X, Y, and Z. I would never invite myself, right? You know, that's just fucking weird, you know. And I think when people do that type of shit, you know, it's like, yo, it's like, respect boundaries, bro. You know, like, stop thinking that people have to owe you time and owe you space, and it's like, it's never the case, man. It's like nobody owes you anything, man. And like that's my whole point with all this, bro. And to wrap all this shit up, because I know it's long-winded, you have to understand that not everybody's for you, and that's okay. You know, be grateful for them anyway. You know, be grateful for the lessons that they taught you. Be grateful for the lessons that, you know, that they continuously teach you, because at the end of the day, they're trying to make you a better person, and vice versa. And I think that's important. I think that's important because you don't want to go through life doing the same shit. You don't want to go through life thinking, oh, it's always the same situation, always the same thing, when it's not. You don't have to sit there and be like, oh, yeah, no. Like, no, it's like, it is what it is. Stop thinking that everything has to be so black and white. And so has to be so straightforward, right? And sometimes, man, it's like, you just have to know when to leave certain things alone, certain nouns alone, people, places, and things. As bad as they don't want you to, as bad as they don't want to leave you alone, and as bad as you don't want to leave them alone, you have to. Because it's like, everybody will say things, but what they do is two completely different things, right? And I think when a lot of times in situations where it goes from, you know, a situationship to be like, oh, people say like we're just friends. A lot of the times it has to do with the fact that somebody in that situation is trying to control the situation because they don't know how to control it. So they figure, oh, if I put so and so in this category, like, they're gonna be cool with it. No, because I know for a fact, bruh, if that was me and somebody put me in a friend zone, bruh, I know they would be. I know they would be hurt. I'd be like, yo, it was like, okay, you telling the nigga that we just friends. I'm gonna go off and do my own shit. I'm gonna go off and do X, Y, and Z. I ain't gonna be in your face about it, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna hear about it. You know, and I think at the end of the day, it's like, that's that. It's like, stop telling motherfuckers that, you know, that we're just that. But on the flip side, tell them, oh, but if you did this, you know, boom, 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 boom. It's like, yo, like, what you want then? Like, you can't tell a motherfucker one thing and be mad when that motherfucker does it. Because it's like, why would somebody sit there and create space for somebody who doesn't want to be there in that same arena with them? Make it make sense. Like, stop thinking that it has to be, oh, you know, stop thinking that, like, it's taboo to have labels. It's taboo to be this. It's like, no, it's what's taboo is to sit there and fucking try to mask your feelings for somebody else, and you're just fucking lying to yourself. Stop thinking that, you know, oh, if I pretend like this shit doesn't bother me, you know, it's not a bother. No, it's a bother. You just don't want to do with your emotions behind it. Because if you had to do with your emotions behind it, you wouldn't be able to stand it. And a lot of people are afraid to sit with their emotions and understand what's going on with them too. And that's why people go through the same type of toxic situation and toxic, you know, relationships, toxic situationships. Because it's like, and I'm not saying being a little toxic is is a bad thing, because it's not. Everybody's toxic to a point. It's when you can sit there and actually have conversations and actually understand why you're going through what you're going through. A lot of people will not do that. They won't sit there and be like, oh yeah, oh, this happened because that happened. Boom, 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 boom. Oh shit, I did that? Yeah. Anyway, y'all, this is about 26 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping the 4 P's. Private player, positive pushing. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Kwanzaa. Happy New Year. All that shit. The last episode will be popping off for 2024 next week, Sunday. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. New merch is coming for 2025, man. I'm about to get. I'm slowly working on some things, but stick with your boy, man. All right, y'all. Much love. Happy holidays. And like I always say, know your worth because you're better than what you are. Peace. All right, y'all. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Later.